This is the Local Real Estate Developer Podcast, where we share the stories of locals across the country who took that empty lot or that old building and turned it into something awesome that their community needs. I'm Kristi Candle, and I've been a real estate developer my entire career. My co-host Raphael is a commercial broker, and together we're sharing the stories of locals making a huge impact on their communities. And what we've learned is you don't need millions in the bank or decades of experience to get started. You just need the confidence, tools, and the right people around you. This podcast is your chance to gain the confidence to get in the game, because real estate development isn't just for the insiders anymore. It's for people like you too.
Welcome to the Local Real Estate Developer Podcast. I'm your co-host, Rafael Collazo. I'm located here in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm an investor, developer, and really just looking to get more and more into different types of commercial property investing and brokerage. And so I'm here with my co-host, Kristi Candle, a real estate developer extraordinaire. Always great to see you.
Hey, great to see you. Yeah, I'm a real estate developer, investor. I teach locals how to do development in their own community. And I am neck deep right now in, I guess, I'm above my head in our cool new community development we're doing. We're building a sports and wellness facility in Southwest Florida. So taking sports and wellness and community and events and putting that all in one spot. So basically a giant playground for adults and children and the whole community to come together. So super excited about that. Tons to do in that, which we've shared in the past and we will going forward. But good to see you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And you had some, if you guys haven't followed along with what Kristi's doing, you check out our Instagram. They're always pushing daily updates about the project, and they've had some pretty big milestones recently. So it's really cool to see your progress and looking forward to follow along. Well, today we have two great guests, actually. So I believe Kristi and the team had some of you all reach out and say, "Hey, we need to have these guests on our podcast." Michelle and they're taking on some cool projects, and it'd be great to kind of dive into your all story. So welcome to the podcast.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for having us. We're excited.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming on. So maybe if you guys can do a little bit of background on you individually, and then we'll go, how did you meet and connect to work on projects together?
Yeah, for sure. So I have been in the real estate space for almost 8 years now, and based in San Diego, California. And once I got in, I started working with investors, and those were my first clients, and then finding them properties, and then becoming the project manager, and then the interior designer. And then as I started to build relationships and knowing the ins and out of fix and flips, I started doing it my own about 3 years ago. And real estate, there's so many different realms and routes that you could go. So always wanting to take it to the next level. And that's when, we'll get into our story in a little bit, but getting into the development space and looking at different states, and started doing ground up in Texas. So
what about you?
So I have been, I've been a love coach actually for the last 6 years. I've been coaching women one-on-one and in groups, and it's been very, very rewarding work, helping women with their confidence, helping women in their love life. And really, I am a huge advocate for the family unit. And when Michelle and I actually met, we realized what a huge gap there was for women when it comes to investing and building their wealth. And having years working with women, I saw them go through, really intense breakups, intense divorces, and women not having the autonomy to create wealth without having that dependency on their husband or their boyfriend and not really knowing what to do. So then when we started talking about it, she also shared even in the field that I'm in, it feels really hard to find mentors, find people that will really share with you the steps on how they've done it without there just being blurred lines or feeling like someone's talking down to you. So then that's when we thought of the idea, how can we go into business together to create wealth for ourselves, but also help other women and create this lane that's not out there.
Definitely. No, I couldn't agree more. I come from I'm in the commercial real estate brokerage space. I've been active in the space since 2019, and I can tell you that there's a big problem with that in our industry. I feel like there's not enough representation, and there's not enough insights and people out there kind of speaking to other people within different groups to be able to encourage new blood to come into the industry. So it's really good that you're willing to kind of share your stories, and hopefully more and more people get inspired to take on these types of projects, because it's great. I mean, obviously real estate is a generational wealth building tool, and hopefully more and more people, get inspired by what you're doing, and hopefully take your lead on that. Tell us a little bit about, obviously you guys have been friends for a little bit. I'm kind of curious about what that discussion was to then take on a project together, because that's one thing to talk about it, and then there's another thing to come together and actually make it happen. So if you could kind of talk a little bit about that, that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, we tell each other everything. We're super close. We're very open with our careers and encouraging and supporting each other. And she knows one of the biggest, I mean, I guess like roadblocks for me to get to where I'm at, it did take many years, I think, because it is a very male dominant space, and feeling comfortable and confident to find a coach that you can be vulnerable with and that will get you there. It's hard. Quite frankly, I don't feel like at that time, for me, the men that were mentoring me, it's like, we're just going to coach you up to here because we don't want to see you get up to here. And I had to really pave and find the way on my own. And I know if I did have the right coaches and mentors, I probably could have cut the time in half to get where I'm at. And I was like, how could we do this for women? Like, there's so many other women that come to me that want to know, how do I invest? How do I start? Whether it's in real estate or even stocks or Ks, there was just a big gap there. And she works with so many women. And so we were like, how could we bring it together and start this like educational platform where we could bring women in as the investors on these projects? And so
yeah, and from my own personal experience, like I also went through a divorce, and in that time I was very financially dependent on my ex. And when I left, I was just like, oh my gosh, like I really saw the need of how many women end a relationship or end a marriage and they don't know what to do. And they don't have enough experience in the workplace because maybe they were the mother, maybe they were the stay-at-home mom. And now they're like, what do I do next? So I saw the need, and then I also felt the need. And we're huge on personal development. So we actually were a part of a really big like self-help, self-development,
transformational
it was training. A 6-month program, and it was after one of the weekends away where we were at her house. I still remember it so vividly. We were in the hot tub and we were just like brainstorming ideas, and we're like, what can we do together? You and I are so ambitious, like we share the same values. I mean, the saying of like, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go together. So like we were like, how can we combine our talents and skills and really share something incredible with the world? And then that's when we started talking about development, and then we started talking about Texas, and then we were like
pacing in the living room, like, okay, I have an idea. She's like writing it down. She's like, okay. And then she would get up, and it just started like really flowing the ideas of everything. And we're like, okay, like now we just need to explore a market. We need to see like how we get there. And I have a real estate background, but when you move to a different city, that's one thing, but then you move to a different state, and that's you're starting all over, from your relationships to your connections to vetting people out, not even knowing the market, because what's happening here in San Diego is not even what's happening in LA or San Francisco, let alone in a completely other state. So it was a big jump for us. And I mean, from there, we really just dove into it.
So what made you pick, like you're in San Diego? Why Texas and the specific market you were in? What pulled you guys there?
So from my experience here in San Diego, California as a whole, it's very expensive. It's doable, but the timeline to get to what we want to do of ground up development it would just take a lot longer. And the timelines working with the city, that out here, your project could be on hold for a minimum of like 8 months to a year, just trying to get the permits. And then you have coastal commission since we're so close to the coast. There was just a lot of factors for it, and the price being the main point of it. And so as we started looking into other states, we were also like, let's interview like coaches and mentors. Like, I think that's a really great starting point, because if we find the right coach and mentor, no matter what market we're in, we're going to be able to conquer it if we have the right people like guiding us on it. And so that was kind of the start. Valeria found a really great coach and mentor, and they were in Dallas, Texas. We've looked into a few other states as well, like Tennessee, Ohio, but the connections that we were honest, that were just kind of coming to us.
Yeah, and we were gravitating towards Texas just in general. Like we want a lot of land.
We want a farm.
We want chickens, horses, cows. Like we were already like we love Florida and we love Texas. And we obviously love San Diego, but we already just felt this natural pull.
Yeah, and so I spent the majority of my career in California doing development deals.
So you get
at minimum it's 8 to months of entitlements and permitting, but most likely you're spending at least 2 years before you ever put a shovel in the ground. You're spending a couple $100,000, and that's all at risk because at any point in time that we know in development, the deal could blow up. And I was just literally talking to someone who's in my mentor program this morning about it, where it's like, whoa, you put hundreds of thousands at risk and it could die. And it's like, yeah, it could, but you do your due diligence along the way. But totally agree with you then on Texas. And it's like, I go into some place to like, no, we don't need to have zoning. Like, sure, you can have this permit.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
And they're so kind. Everyone that we've talked to in the city, they're like, hi, man, how are you doing? Like, of course we can do that
sweetheart.
for you.
Okay. I'm like, is this the city? Because in California, like, I wouldn't even get through to somebody out here.
I was going to say, they wouldn't even pick up the phone to then be a jerk and tell you they're too busy.
Yeah, exactly. And like the cost, like even doing fix and flips out here, for me to get a distressed property, like it's about 1 million, 1.2. And there's no land out here to buy. So you're going to buy an existing property for about the same price. And then to remove it, it's just, I mean, it's doable, but the funds and it's too much. So yeah.
So you had relationships that you've fostered in some capacity to kind of give you the inclination to say, okay, well, Texas is the place that we want to be at. Talk us through kind of the next steps of that. So you've decided Texas is the place you want to be. You know, what was your market research, and then ultimately, what was the opportunity that presented itself, and how do you kind of analyze that to determine whether or not to move forward?
You know, actually, like Texas, it's a non-disclosure state. So doing the market research on our own was not likely. We could see what was currently on the market, but being able to see like, okay, well, what is the average price for us to get something? Like, what is our ARV? Like, we couldn't do that. And so building relationships as far as agents was our top priority for that. And we got connected with a top producing agent out there, and we started to move forward with it. And I think we've said this a few times already, but we really value relationships. And we both think it's really important to work with people, not that just have clout, if you will, but also have integrity and align with our values and stand for what we stand for ultimately. And if you don't, that's not somebody that we want to work with or build a relationship with. And, you know, when we're here, it is phone calls and text messages and emails for a while until we're able to fly out and get the ball rolling. Ultimately, we had some relationships that weren't, you know, good for us. They weren't a good fit. And we were in the middle of a deal. Like on our first development, we were in escrow. We submitted our EMD, and on closing day, there was so many red flags that came up, not just from the lender, but from the agent that we were with. And we had to make this executive decision because the funds that we raised are from investors. That's how we were able to get this property. And it's like, okay, well, we also have to make this decision for these investors. Like, is this really smart? We have a lot of other people's money at risk. And we had a long sit down conversation, canceled the transaction on the day of closing. You know, we're like, we might lose our deposit, but is, you know, $4,000 versus
we're going to be with them for a long time. We did decide to go through, like, we were seeing so many red flags and so much resistance up front that I was just like, if we're feeling this now, imagine spending the next like 8 to 12 months with these people, going back and forth. Like the stress that we're feeling now, it's like I told her, I was just like, this is like a rotten tooth. Like it's going to be painful to rip it out, but rip it out now or else we're going to feel the pain for so much longer. It was a hard decision because, you know, we value relationships and we also care about like our reputation. We're new out there. We're just getting our name out there, and to start off in a place where things were already so rocky, we were just like, you know what, it's just not a good fit.
Yeah.
That's so huge for you guys to be able to do that, because we talk a lot in development about getting pregnant with a deal to where you get so far in and you're emotionally, monetarily, and I mean, you're excited. Like you've got these relationships. So architects, engineers, city people, maybe neighbors that you've already talked to, and you're like, oh, my dead deal cost if I kill this is so much. But being able to know when to cut it can be so helpful and save you so much in the long run, because you did a great exercise there going, do we really want this energy and these people and relationships around for 8+ more months?
Yeah, it's
as well as and our reputation being on the line. Like, so that's very huge that you guys didn't let the excitement of a deal go, because I've worked with many people who just went too far, and then I had to help them salvage it on the back end. And it's like, if you would have just cut ties then.
And it was already like, it wasn't even a great deal. There was just so much that wasn't working.
Well, and it's again, like with Texas being a non-disclosure state and us not being able to do the analysis on our own, we're literally relying, because for me, I'm trying to transition my license over to Texas. But Texas is its own little nation. You know what I mean? They have its own processes. It's not easy. And so we're literally relying on what this person is telling us for this property. And we're like, okay, and then we started to ask other people, and they started sharing, different numbers, different analyses. And we're like, this just isn't it. And
it's not even a good deal.
It's not a good deal. And I don't know about you guys with, the projects that you've had, but in my experience of all the others, they've been a breeze. Get it, lock it, close it. Everything is just smooth sailing. And this one, it was like, boom, boom. And I was like, we've never had this kind of resistance before. Like, we need to sit back and see what this is about and really follow our intuition and make a big judgment call.
And we're really big in our faith too. So every time we were praying, I was like, no.
Like, God, let us know if this is the right one. Roadblock. And we're like, well, maybe that's not God. Let's try again. Hey, God. And another one. And we're like, okay, we need to listen to him.
He sent a few signs, it seems like. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great though, that to your point, because the idea of a sunk cost fallacy, where there's a lot of people that have put in a lot of effort into something, and when it starts realizing that it's not going to work out the way you hope for, some people ignore that and just push through it, and they say, we'll figure it out on the other side, and ultimately it doesn't work well. But I think in your case too, even though, let's say the $4,000, if you lose the earnest money, that's $4,000. I'm not trying to say that's not a big amount of money, because it is, but
we have
at the
a
end of the
lot
day,
more.
you just and you built that reputation with your investors too. Like I've had some projects here we raised some money, and the deal didn't go the way we were hoping for, and so we had to pivot with our strategy, and so we ended up getting our investors out, and we even paid them a profit, even though we didn't have a profit from the endeavor. So we just said, look, we're going to get you out at 10% of your return. We held it for a year, and that was probably 15 or 20 grand for us that we had to come out of pocket, me and my business partner. But every single investor that we gave the money back to, they're like, oh, wow, we didn't even expect that, And so you better believe the next project that we end up doing, I'm going to call them, and they're going to be like, absolutely, whatever it's going to take to get the job done, we're going to do it. And I think that although it stings at first, it's going to pay dividends in the long run.
Yeah. And I think what you said, that's something that we also had to have conversations with. We're like, we need to tell our investors that we're not moving forward on this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it gave us a little bit of anxiety, because we're like, shoot, are they going to think their judgment on deciding on all of these stories started writing in our head. Yeah. And when we told them, they were actually like, we trust you.
We were like, you.
That was it. Literally, thank you. We trust you. And we're like, that is.
We normally create way more stories in our mind of how it can go. So we've also talked about this a lot, to where when you need to have that conversation, just go have it before you create all these scenarios in your head. Figure out what you want to do, go have it. And it's probably not going to be as bad as you think, because they trusted you in the first place to go into this. And if they could do it on their own, they would have done it. So, yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, people value clear communication and transparency. So if you're communicating 100%. And you're being transparent with the journey, and something that we also really stand on is not just highlighting the good and the rainbows and butterflies, because I think the people that are in this industry and do this for a living know it is anything but roses. It is literally stress and gray hair every single day.
Hey, can we chat for a second? Since you're listening to this podcast, you're already thinking like a developer. You see the potential in your community, and you're ready to do more than just watch from the sidelines. That's exactly why we created the Local Developer Vault. It's a free resource full of tools, templates, and trainings to help you take action. And here's the best part. When you sign up, you'll also get access to our local real estate developer community. It's full of people just like you, who are making real things happen in their neighborhoods. So don't just listen to the stories. Become the next one that we spotlight on our show. The link in the show notes to unlock the vault and join our movement.
Yeah, with new obstacles constantly. And we're like, our goal is not just to get the investors, but if they want to do this at the end of the project, like give them so much insight and knowledge as the project is unfolding. So if they want to do this on their own, they can. And part of that is sharing, like, this deal fell through and it's X, Y, and Z.
And that's just the end of it. That's not like the countless emails and calls and conversations like behind the scenes.
Right.
That's just telling them like the deal didn't go through, but there's so much that goes behind. I mean, even just yesterday, like we thought the survey was ordered last week. It wasn't. They said it was. We're like now rushing the survey. Yeah. It's like, it's just
postponing our architect, our plans. And we're like, oh, and reconfiguring our calendars every day.
Yeah. I like to say development is like you're juggling 10,000 balls at any time. Yeah. And it's also a combination of being a detective, playing like a chess match and a poker game. Like it's all wrapped up into one, because you're trying to figure out, you're managing all these personalities, you're managing the tenants, the property owners, the cities. Every stakeholder has a different one. Yeah. But to me, that's the fun part, because we're putting a puzzle together. Like it's not cut and dry. Here's a flip. Go do it. Yeah. And we're professional problem solvers. It's just like, that's what we do. Like we have an obstacle. Great. Cool.
Have to be solution oriented in this industry. 1000%. Like, or else you're not going to survive. You're not going to make it.
Exactly. Okay. So your first deal you had to back out of.
Yeah.
Sounds like if you're ordering surveys, you've got something else. What happened after that first deal? And it sounds like you probably got rid of some team members or consultants and advisors that you had. What was that transition from figuring out, okay, that wasn't the right partner, to finding potentially the right partners and getting into your next deal?
Obviously, being in another state, not close, we had to jump on a flight. Literally, we're like, we're terminating this agreement. We are going to Texas. And we went and met with other realtors that we got connected with through social media. Love social media. It just brings people together, and sat down with them and met. We had a few other, like our contractor that we've spoken with over Zoom and FaceTime all the time. We love him. So finally able to sit down with him. We spent a week out there and went to a ton of networking events. And we're like, okay, because we had a lot of agents that are on social media, but it's like, there's nothing like meeting somebody face to face and in person and actually seeing, are we a good fit for each other? And did that. Mission accomplished in the first week. Found great realtors that were on top of it, overly communicative right away. Within a week of being back from Texas, already found a property, got it under contract, and things are
moving
as they should.
Yeah. And found a wonderful lender.
A wonderful lender.
Wonderful lender. A total different experience than what we had last time.
Maybe let's break, because both raising capital. So we should probably talk about what your guys' strategy was for that, because that scares some people to go, how do I even ask for someone else's money? And do I want it? But then also from a lender standpoint of, was it like regional banks? How did you go about vetting them and figuring out who your partner is on that?
So I guess we could talk about the investment side first, because obviously we are channeling women. That's our target, is to really help women in this space. But it's difficult when it comes to women. Women, we're not as well versed in this financial space, and a lot of our investors right now, like we're still pretty male dominant with our investor space, but we have calls with women every week. Those are relationships that we have to nurture.
Yeah, women are a lot, I would say, fearful and skeptical about investing, especially the amount that they are investing. You know, like it's not $5,000. Like our minimum is 50. So it's not, because we don't want a ton of investors in each project. It just gets really messy and complicated. So we have noticed that, okay, there is a fear here, but we are like 100% confident that once they start seeing things really, when they start actually seeing like us go out to Texas more and see the projects,
the process of everything,
I think they're going to feel a lot more confident investing in it. But it is something that we have noticed that there's a lot more fear around.
Yeah, you're not wrong, especially when it gets to commercial. I think so. Beth Azor, she's a broker in Southeast Florida. She saw that same need, and in COVID, the stat is, I think it's like 3% of women invest in commercial real estate, and 1.5% do it without a spouse. So that number is so small. She's like, I need to change this. So she has made it her mission. We just finished the 6th summit that she puts together, which it's incredible. But the whole goal is to give women confidence to go, here's the terms. Here's how you break it down. Like even just understanding the agreements and things that are in place, knowing the questions to ask to know, I don't know, am I just getting the wool pulled over my eyes? So like she has created that, and there's in so many communities of women have spun up, but we need that because that's the only way to give people the confidence to get into a world that they're traditionally not a part of. So kudos to you guys for seeing that need and doing the education, because if I had to guess, for every 20 calls you have with a female, that maybe you get one person to invest, and that number is probably completely different with guys, and it's probably a much shorter, straightforward conversation.
Different.
I'll post on my story, like, need a raise, like X amount, and boom, boom, boom. Then like sometimes it's like a 15-minute conversation. They're like, great, send us the wire instructions. Like, and it's so wild because you could just really see the difference of how like risk tolerant men are, and how they're just like, okay, like the numbers make sense. That they're very like analytical. Like, what is it? What are the numbers? Does it make sense for me? Done. And so as far as like reaching out, I think on all of my projects, for the most part here in San Diego, I've raised capital from investors. But when I got started, I was using my own money, so I could understand that emotional tie with it. And we invest in all of our projects as well, just so like, and I think it gives our investors that reassurance, like, oh, like they really believe in this project.
Yeah, we have skin too.
Yeah, and so for me, I think I'm super passionate about it. She's super passionate about it. And if you're passionate about something and you're talking about it, people want to be a part of it because it's organic for us. So I don't find it as difficult to raise capital because we believe in what we're doing. And again, like we're energy beings, and people sense that, and they're like, okay. Like,
and it's people that have trusted us like throughout our own journey. Like they've seen us continuously show up in what we have individually. And some, I think when people start with investors, like sometimes it is friends and family. Sometimes it is your immediate network that's like, hey, like I believe in you. Like,
and they have a front row seat.
Yes.
Like off social media of what you're doing, the time you're putting into it. And so I think the immediate circle is undervalued a lot.
Completely.
Because that's where
a lot of people start.
Yeah.
Like and trust. And who knows you more than people who have watched you grind and go through different careers and overcome different obstacles in life and went, wait, they're still standing.
Yeah.
They're still pushing forward.
Yeah, exactly. They've seen the tears, and we just keep pushing through, the resilience of it, the courage, and they're like, all right.
Yeah, and regarding because you mentioned that you guys are very active on social media. How has that been? How has the act of doing what you're doing on social media improved your ability to kind of reach that broader audience? If you could share that, that'd be great.
I think when it comes to, I'm not like a social media girl. I am now. I am now. I'm getting there, but it's uncomfortable. Like posting on social media, and it's a very vulnerable space. And when we were going through that 6-month like transformational training that we spoke about a little bit ago, they challenged me to post every single day. They were like, you're going to post something every single day. And I'm like, woo, all right. And I did it. And that actually created a lot more like attention on my page and expanded my audience. And so I think social media, posting every single day, sharing what you're doing, not worried about editing it, like just being organic and sharing the highs, the lows, like in your natural state and where you're at. There's so much value in that. And you don't need a large following. I think people think like, shoot, I need to wait till I have 100K or this many followers before I start promoting my business or my product or what I'm doing. But if you're posting genuine content about what you're doing, then the quality followers that you have are greater than the quantity.
Definitely.
Yeah. Social media, I mean, I've been creating content for the last 7 years, and I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly with social media. Recently, I have experienced like a really, really big growth on it, like the biggest one I've ever had. Yeah. And it's really cool to see. Like, I think now we live in a society where if you look like you're doing something really big, people want to be a part of it. If you're growing at a really fast rate, people really want to be a part of it. So it's something that like we've noticed, but I want to be very intentional with like how I use my social media. So I grew really fast, and now I'm like, okay, what do I want to offer? What can I really like, what can I sell? What products can I give my audience? Because I'm stepping away from one-on-one coaching. I loved it. It was very rewarding, but now moving into this like other lane, I'm looking at like, what can I use my social media to help us, to help continue building a personal brand and not getting so caught up, because you could have likes, you could have followers, but really if you're not doing anything with it, it's kind of just like,
It's
what,
eating at your time.
like, what's it there for? What's the purpose of it? So I think that's where I'm at right now. But it's a great problem to have because I love that I've grown really quickly.
Yeah, literally, like this year, it was like a boom.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I'm proud of her.
Well, and you're being intentional about it's not attention for attention's sake. You're being
Yes.
intentional about what you're trying to put out into the world, which is great because it's going to lead to potential opportunities, and then you're going to attract the right people, which I remember it was a while back I heard this phrase, but your vibe will find your tribe. Like you put out vibes into the world, and ultimately people that kind of fit in with that are eventually going to gravitate towards you.
Exactly.
Yeah. When you're authentic, and
Mhm.
people can sense that. I mean, even if there is a screen behind us, I know whenever I'm looking at someone's social media, you could tell like if they're genuine and authentic, and people gravitate towards that. At least the people we want in our space gravitate
Yes.
towards that.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and it does something great too, where it kind of dissuades people that don't kind of fall in line with your
Right.
who you are, to kind of wash themselves out, and that's equally as valuable too. I mean,
Yeah.
not everyone's going to like dealing with me, not everyone's going to like dealing with Kristi, not everyone's going to like dealing with you guys, but those people you don't want to deal with anyways.
They're
So
not-
it's just
yeah.
putting
Right.
yourself out there
Yeah.
is
You don't have to
half the battle.
with you.
And I think something too that like I know I had to overcome was like getting over that. Like I'm not going to please everybody. Like you could
Mhm.
have the most kindest message and somebody will come to destroy it. But just knowing like, okay, if I could share like what I went through today and impact one person, then I did a great job. Or if I post something and I get one valuable connection, then
Yes.
that post was worth it for me. So
Yeah.
I think once I
Well,
changed my mindset, it
and it's not a natural thing. And I think especially with you both who seem to be pretty driven people, you're kind of always wanting to, do the best you can all the time about certain things. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's not possible to please everyone. So
Not at
it's
all.
not a natural feeling for someone like you guys who are that way. And sometimes you just have to kind of come to that realization and say, okay, you know what? I can't be everything to everyone, but I
No,
can be
no way.
almost everything for some people. So
Right.
Yeah, it's such a, my boyfriend was making fun of me because he's like, you're such like an entrepreneur. Like, it's like, I hit my first like million views and I was like, okay, this is boring. Like, what next? Like, how can I now
Yeah.
like monetize it? How can I like do something with it? It was so like, it's
Yeah.
cool for a second. And then after I was like,
It's just like a
there's
high.
nothing. It is.
Yeah.
Really.
No fireworks went off, nothing happened. I was literally just talking to someone this morning about the first couple of companies I had. I did not enjoy the journey. I put my head down and I'm conquering, I'm getting to the finish line. And what I realized is the whole fun is the ups and downs, the unknown. And so like this time around being intentional, because you're right, the fireworks, you achieve this great big goal. There's no fireworks, there's no unicorns, there's no rainbows. It's like,
Yeah, you're just like, okay.
Well, there's no finish line. You realize there's no finish
Right.
line. You chase the finish line, but there's never going to be a finish line.
Never.
So you're always going to move the goalpost because naturally, all of us are. It seems like we're all very driven. So it's like even if you reach whatever goal you have, you say, okay, well, on to the next one
Right.
because I'm not going to be satisfied just waiting here for what.
Opportunity.
It's not a natural feeling. Yeah, that's great. So regarding that project, you're kind of talking about some of the due diligence items you're going through right now. Remind me again, with this particular project, you guys are under contract and you guys are going to be closing here soon. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Closing in
What are
like-
your plans? What is the next step on this particular project?
So we're purchasing an existing single family home, like a 10,000 square foot lot, and we're going to remove the entire property and we're going to build from the ground up a luxury 6,000 square foot home, like 5 beds, 7 baths, with a pool and a sauna. And we're in the heart of Dallas. We're in a desirable neighborhood. And so that will be, I mean, we're actually meeting with our architect tomorrow to redesign everything. We had a great design going on the other one where we were like, okay, I hope he could still kind of take what we were doing and just expand it a little bit because this one's about 2,000 square foot bigger than the original one that we had.
And then get the permits.
Yeah.
And the permits turnaround is
So much
different.
quicker. Oh my gosh. But it's relationships because you know what? It's about 2 to 3 months out there, but we have built such a good relationship that it's going to take us 3 weeks. Like, that is unheard of. Like, come on, that's phenomenal. So, getting that ball rolling. So, once we close, they'll be able to start the demo within the first week. And then from there, start the process the following week once permits come in.
And is this a long-term hold? Is this a sell? What's the plan with that one?
Yeah, so we're going to develop it about 12 month timeline, 2 months. No, the build will actually be about 7, 8 months once the demo and permits are received. And so we're hoping, since we're in a desirable neighborhood, we'll be in and out within 12 months, sell it, and keep going.
So what was the thesis behind this taking on the 6,000 square foot build and it being kind of a luxury development? What was the thought process there? Is it just that seems to be what's trading in that market?
Whether you build 1,000 square feet, 4,000 square feet, or 6,000 square feet, the process is the same.
Sure.
You're just hitting a different return bracket. And for us, we were like, you know what? We're going to go big.
Yeah.
Why are we going to go small when the process is the same? Like, I trust what I'm doing. We're a great team. So we're going to do it. And so I think for us being just ambitious and loving a challenge, we're building something that we ourselves would live in.
Every time we see the architect plans, we're like, wow, like how wonderful. We're going to have a sauna in there. It's just
cool. And I think too, it's funny because with this being such a male dominant industry, we look at the builds and we're like, okay, we could tell this was a man's mind because, where we're at in Dallas, it's a family oriented neighborhood. So we're thinking as like moms and wives with children. And we're like, what would be easy for a family like to navigate? And as we're doing this layout and thinking, okay, people also work remote. So we're really like stepping into like the lifestyle space. Yeah. And so,
and it might be male dominant, but if the wife is not happy in that house, like good luck.
Yeah. The man might have the money, but the wife will make the decision when it's coming to a home with her kids.
I can promise you do not want me to design a house. I can promise you that. I can promise you that.
I think it was
we got really blessed with our architect. He was a part of a bigger company and he actually branched away to do his own things. He has all the skills, all the knowledge, but gave us like a really incredible deal. And we've just built such a great relationship with him that he's just like whatever you ladies need, like I got you.
And that was the same thing with our lender too.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, not the first one. But
oh God.
Yeah. Tell us about the second one.
My gosh. Poor Michelle was getting so much stress with that one.
Yeah.
But this one has been the turnaround
and social media. I mean, I had a lot of lenders reach out to me via social media when they see the Texas development and again, authentic.
Go really viral on one of the underwriting deals that we did.
And so we got a lot of
people,
a lot of traction from that for sure. And a lot of people reached out with their business and, interviewed a few. And the one that we have now, super similar situation with the architect. He's been in the finance space for years and he started his own capital firm for hard money lending. And so he's being very competitive. He knows that we're trying to get something under contract every single month. And so he is delivering really great terms. And again, it's the communication. I think the missing link in all the other people we worked at was the lack of communication and the lack of transparency and honesty. And, when you work with somebody that gives it to you straight without fluff, like we appreciate, we're like, just tell me what it is. Like, I know like it might be more expensive, but tell us now. So we're at least prepared for it. And again, like, great relationship. I think people sometimes look at somebody and they're like, oh, they don't have experience in their own field yet. Like we want maybe more somebody that's established. But if you actually go for those underdogs that are just starting out with knowledge, of course, and starting their own company, that's really what's allowed us to.
It's like they're betting on.
They're seeing us start.
Betting on each other. You're doing it both ways. And it's more common than people would think that you found a great architect partner who left a big firm and has that experience and the lender. And that's a very common story that happens and people want to get into development. And so for architects and lenders to maybe get in on a deal like this, they're now getting more exposure to you guys and how the deal is structured and how it goes, to where I bet part of it is just getting the confidence on their end to go, oh, this is cool. Like I'm kind of
All of
getting an
us.
education.
All
Like
of
So
us.
you're all winning.
portfolio. Like I'm helping your portfolio, you're helping my portfolio. Like we're winning. We're truly.
We're
And
all
that's the, you keep saying relationships are so key and important. That is 100%, especially when it comes to commercial and development, that relationships are truly what move the needle and help get things done. And to where when something falls apart, and it will, knowing that you or someone on your team can call in a favor, like that favor could save you months and tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
We've already experienced that, even just from the transition that the team that we now have.
Yeah.
We can see how much faster things are. And you want to feel like people have your back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like with the people that we had before, I was
Just
just
want a
like, man,
paycheck.
you're just here to collect the check. You're not here really like
For the
batting for
relationship.
us. Like you're not here really, and we're not there. That's the biggest thing, is like we're not there. So we need people that are going to be in it with us and involved and really want to see the project and not just like go through. Because on the last numbers that we did with the deal that we have, we're like, man, this is going to be a real big learning experience. Like
as long as we
we're
learn.
not really making much money on this one. Like this is just going to be full of learning experiences. And now we're actually like going to be, it's a very profitable deal now
Very.
with a better team. And it just goes to show, like I saw this video that was like, some of the most successful people are actually the best quitters. Like they actually know when to quit. They know when to quit a relationship, quit a deal, like get out before it's super, super painful. So I'm honestly really proud of the way that we handled that situation and how quickly we moved.
Well, I think trusting yourself is really important. And I think you were saying earlier too, Kristi, you get really excited. You're like, oh my gosh, like this deal, like I just want to close it. And you ignore the red flags because you're like, well, something this may not happen this good. And being able to trust ourselves, but also trust each other and be like, okay, like we're just going to listen to this and have faith that something better is going to come along for sure.
And a blessing that we have each other, honestly. Just at the end of the day, to even sometimes when we just need to complain.
We set a timer. You have 2 minutes. Let it out.
Which that, you know, that's where you've experienced partnership and well, that didn't work out way, but also that brought you two probably much closer together to go, okay, but we're in this together. We trust each other. And so like partnerships can be good and bad. And when you find the good ones, to just hang on to them and build them from there. So once you guys had made that decision, I would assume there was like a shot to like the ego, the confidence, the, oh crap. What did you guys use to keep yourselves motivated and eyes on that end goal of, hey, no, we want to do this? Potentially, like your why is bigger than even just a project. It's bringing other people along as well. So what did you guys actually use to pull yourselves up and be motivated to keep going forward?
I mean, that day in particular, we were really, really busy. Like we just, it was such a blessing in disguise, because at first we were so stressed out, like on the morning.
It was like a weight, like holding us down.
On call. It's like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And then we ended up like having so much to do that day that it was actually a blessing, because we weren't, sometimes when you sulk in something for too long, like the problem becomes so much bigger than it really is. And I think a lot of people they'll stay stuck on a problem way too long because they really just have too much time on their hands.
Right.
Like when you actually have a lot to do and a lot to get done, like you really realize like, okay, I don't even have the luxury of giving this so much time and space because I have to do other stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like in a sense of avoiding,
distracting.
We felt it. We cried about it. We got upset about it, and then it was just like, okay, move on. And then the next, like, we got sleep that night. Sometimes you really just need to let
the body
day pass. And then the next day we were like, okay, like back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
Like back to it.
And I think like letting yourself like feel the emotions and crying, like let it out. Like we're not ashamed. Like, okay, we worked hard on this one and it's a defeat, but I think we both just have such strong mindsets. I tell her all the time, like, I'm so grateful to have a partner that also has just as strong of a mental, because whenever something doesn't go as planned and whenever there's a failure or a curveball,
And disappointment.
And disappointment. I like to stop and say, like, what is this teaching me? Like, what am I learning from this right now? Because there's always a big learning opportunity whenever there's a failure or a disappointment. And once you're able to shift it into that perspective and like ground yourself and be like, okay, like these are things that we could have done differently, maybe in this step. Like maybe we did kind of avoid this a little bit where we should have actually like pressed and had a conversation here that we didn't have. And so I think that has actually allowed just learning that over the years, you know, especially doing this for so long. There's always going to be something that happens in this industry where it's not going to go as planned. You could have a roadmap and it's not going to go according to plan ever,
No.
even if you've done it for years. Like when I'm fixing and flipping, every single house was different. I would hit a new roadblock on every single property and I would learn something new on every single one. And knowing that it's going to happen like this too, I think in anything that you do.
Yeah.
So being able to like reflect and be like, I just learned that. That was an expensive lesson, but sometimes you only learn through experience.
Foundation wise, like we're really big in the gym. Like we work out
health.
often. We take care of our body. Like we have healthy relationships. Like we rarely drink. We don't stay out late. Like we go to church twice a week. Like we're in our Bibles in the morning. Like we live healthy lifestyles. And I think a lot of that, it's underrated, like just taking care of yourself, like true care of yourself. And it really does help you bounce back a lot faster. Like if we were in unhealthy relationships, if we were, you know, even just drinking wine every night, or
it does maintain your mindset.
it does. Yeah. God takes care of your body. We're in the gym like 4 or 5 days a week. Like we walk every day. Like we make sure to get sunlight.
It's the basic,
Yes.
like literally
Like
the
foundation
basic.
that we have. Like you have to give yourself a fighting chance of winning. And I feel like when people are on like this like huge deficit, it's like, how do you expect to really get far if you're already starting from so low?
Yeah, the base habits. There's this book called, I'm sure you guys have read, the Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, where you talk about
Incredible.
small, positive, consistent action over time adds up to huge results. So you talk about getting in the gym for 30 minutes a day. What does that lead to? Maybe it helps you feel more energy, and with more energy that you have, now you can take on more projects, or you can do more things that move the needle in your life, and that all compounds over time. And that happens in a relatively short period of time. So if you're willing to just focus in on those small, consistent actions every day, it does make a difference. So
Sure.
And I think that comes with maturity and aging. Like I know in my early 20s, it was really hard for me to see like what that meant in terms of something taking 6 months, something taking a year, something taking 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Like I didn't understand that concept of really being patient. And now also being in this new industry, like for myself with developments in real estate, like this is huge delayed gratification.
Yes, it is.
But I think without having the maturity and the things that I've gone through in my life, I wouldn't be able to see the value in that. I wouldn't be able to really like stick through the journey of it. And every day is
It's
new.
patience.
And
It's patience.
right now, no one is getting paid. We're just working. And we do our other things like on the side to obviously like maintain our lifestyle. It's a total different game.
yeah, I was talking to Kristi the other day about, because we got a couple projects going locally, and I was like, yep, so just another $5,000 going out the window, you know, or not out the window, obviously. It's like, oh, another, you know,
A lot of money going out.
oh, sure, whatever. I guess that'll pay for itself at some point, you know. So I'm always just like venting to Kristi. It's like, oh my gosh, this stuff. It's fun, but it's also stressful.
No, it's not for everyone.
No.
Yeah.
Not for everyone.
Good things take time.
It does, and it'll all pay off in the end. And I think you guys
Absolutely.
have the right mindset, and you guys have the right strategy that is going to pay dividends. And I'm kind of curious about, what's the future look like for you guys? Like, what is your strategy over the next several years? Is it predominantly sticking in that market, or are you guys looking to expand, or what does that look like?
I mean, I think we're definitely open to expanding. I mean, when it comes to real estate, the mind is just filling up with so many ideas. And I think, you know, doing development, our goal is to get one under contract every single month and get that ball rolling and compound it. I think ultimately multifamily, building apartment buildings. We love, as you know, like our health and wellness is the foundation of our life and really big. So maybe opening a wellness hotel, and, you know, where people could travel, because traveling for us too, it's like, is there a good gym around here? Where's the cold plunge? Where's this? Where's that? And so like, how could we create some of those? I mean, the opportunity is endless for us. So
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, not only are we doing the missing third space in our community, but with some other partners, we just sold a handful of our boring properties that we've already like forced appreciation, forced as much value as we can to do a boutique hotel, probably in the 40 unit range, but with the wellness destination. So whether it's in Tahoe or whether it's in Colorado, but that's our thing, is to incorporate wellness to make it that relaxing, just recharging spot
yeah,
for us.
that's
So
awesome.
cool.
I love
Tahoe
it.
would be incredible for that.
Yeah, we've got several already. Like my partner in that runs luxury short term rentals, and only will take on certain properties. So I'm like, from an ops standpoint, I want no part of it, but she will have that dialed to where it's like, okay, this is incredible. And if we did get a spot, yeah. So any questions on that, or if you guys are doing it too, we're more than happy to
We
toss around ideas.
Yeah, because I know that's definitely something that we see
Oh, yeah.
in the future too. But also, like, I mean, besides the developments too, it's really educating women in wealth. That's something that we've been.
Yeah, we would love to be able to coach and help other women that are like us. Like when we were looking for mentors and looking for who is in this space that can really help us and having a hard time finding that, like we would love to be able to be that for other women historically. And I don't care who sees it. I'm not a feminist. Like I truly I
Yeah.
love and honor and respect men, and I love and honor and respect women,
And
and
our
I think that we
roles.
come together. I don't think that one is better than the other. And I do see that
Really.
for like historically, like women haven't had that much power for that long. And I think now that things are different, like life is very, very different. And it's only
Very.
evolving more and more. The more technology advances, our lives change. And I think that there's a way to come together and like use our gifts. Like the way that we do business is not the same way two guys would do business. And that's okay. That doesn't make ours better or theirs better. But I think women need to see that we're very big in wanting family. Like we want to be married. We want kids. We want to still be in our feminine, and we still want to
Run a
raise
business.
wealth. Like
Yeah.
there's a way to do both. And I think giving women that path and that lane that like, hey, you don't have to turn into this like boss masculine that like doesn't have a man, doesn't have a family. And then if you don't want to be a stay-at-home mom, that's okay too. Like you can have both, but I think a lot of women right
Feel like you have to
now
choose or
don't know how
sacrifice.
to do that. That's like the biggest gap. It's like they're either in love with their business and they have no love life, or they have, they're stay-at-home mom, married, and then there's still something missing. Like women, we're such creators at heart. Like we have a huge creative spirit. And I think over the years, as we grow, like, maybe like our husbands will be the one calling the contractors, and we'll be the ones like designing the
They'll
space.
go visit the job site.
Yeah.
It's your turn, honey.
Like you put your boots on today, and we'll like, plan the architect plans. So it really is about like finding that balance. But I do hope that as we grow in this space that we can
help and influence other women.
Yes, that's the biggest goal for us.
And I think that's what we're naturally doing, is we're kind of creating this new lane for women in general. And I'm just looking all at my mentors ahead of me that I'm like, wow, you were the like first attorney in La Jolla to even come out, the hurdles that you went through, and then to see what her daughter is doing and what she's saving. And then her daughter is the mentor to me. And I'm just like, wow, like you guys had to go through so much. So yes, we still have our own barriers, but it's like perspective in that sense, but also awesome to see that there's new lanes forming. And the more the information doesn't need to be gate kept. It can be shared. And I think the more we tell our stories, the more we get it out there, it just naturally is going to help everyone. And it's going to help guys just like it will women, to where we just need to, that's the whole purpose of this podcast, is let's remove the gatekeeping. Let's pull back the curtain and go, here's the reality of this, because it wasn't that, hey, a year down the line, we sold this first property. It's, hey, remember the deal that happened before this? Yeah, that's real life. That happened. Remember the contractor fiasco? That happened. Remember the lender falling behind and us needing to figure it out? So I think telling that full story and being, like you guys have said many times, being authentic, communicating and being authentic, especially in the age of AI and technology, the more that our human side can come out, relationship, the connection, the humanity of that, I think that's going to go a long way in and helping all of us.
Yes.
we agree.
Yeah. No.
So
Well,
how can people follow you? You guys are clearly on the platforms. You have an awesome message. You're doing really cool stuff, showing that you can do it outside of your community. What's the best ways for them to follow along?
So my Instagram handle is millionaire Michelle _
And mine is
like
the rich romantic.
So you can
Makes a lot of sense now. There we go.
amazing. Well, we'll make sure to include that in the show notes. So for those of you guys who are listening in podcast format, go ahead in the description and you'll be able to access that information. Michelle and Valeria, it was really great to get to know you guys. We're looking forward to staying in touch and follow along with your projects. You know, the hope with this podcast is we continue to build a community of local developers taking on projects all around the country and hopefully, you know, create a community where people can, you know, pick ideas from other people and hopefully get inspired to take on their own real estate development projects. So thanks again for contributing to that community.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
so
you
much
guys
for
for
having
having
us.
us. Yeah.
It's been so great chatting with you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it a lot.
Absolutely. But if you guys are watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. It makes a huge impact on our ability to reach a broader audience, and we greatly appreciate the support. Along with that, if you guys are listening to this in a podcast format, whether that's Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave a 5-star review. The more 5-star reviews we receive, the broader the reach we achieve, and the broader the reach we achieve, hopefully more and more people get inspired to take on their first real estate development project. So thanks again so much for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time.